The best exercise for each muscle group after 40. A personal trainer continues to be a luxury that few can afford. And inside gyms, 2 or 3 instructors trying to serve crowded floors end up delivering generic workout sheets, with exercises chosen for practicality, not for your reality. The result is a workout that ignores age, joint history, old injuries, and individual biomechanics. Precisely what matters most after 40. That's why today you'll discover the best exercise for each muscle group in this age range, with scientific criteria and focus on those seeking results without getting hurt. Before we start, please leave in the comments your name and your main difficulty nowadays in workouts. We'll make an effort to read as many comments as possible. Best exercise for biceps. Incline dumbbell curls. The incline dumbbell curl is one of the smartest choices for biceps after 40. Seated with the bench inclined between 45 and 60 degrees, the arm is positioned behind the torso line, placing the long head of the biceps in complete stretch before the first repetition. This matters because hypertrophic stimulus is greater when the muscle works at longer lengths, something that the standing straight curl cannot offer at the same magnitude. The biceps brachii is the main target, with participation from the brachialis and brachioradialis. The bench backrest completely supports the spine and eliminates hip swinging, a classic vice of standing curls that overloads the lower back. The dumbbells also allow each forearm to follow a natural rotation trajectory, reducing stress on the wrist and elbow. To execute correctly, sit with your spine completely supported. Let your arms hang perpendicular to the floor, and flex your elbows, bringing the dumbbells toward your shoulders without moving your elbows forward. In the eccentric phase, lower in 2 to 3 seconds to maximize results. The main errors to avoid are swinging the torso to generate momentum, shortening the range of motion, losing the stretching phase, which is the differential of the exercise, and moving the elbows forward at peak contraction. Do 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. Those with distal biceps tendinitis or epicondylitis should start with light loads and prioritize eccentric control. Best exercise for triceps. Overhead cable triceps extension. The overhead cable triceps extension, executed with the rope behind the head, solves a problem that most workouts completely ignore. The long head of the triceps, responsible for most of the muscle volume, only truly stretches when the arm is overhead. And this simply doesn't happen in conventional pull-downs or kickbacks. For audiences over 40, the cable has another huge advantage. It generates continuous and smooth tension, without the joint stress peaks characteristic of the skull crusher in the lowering phase, an exercise notoriously aggressive with worn elbows. The rope also allows slight wrist rotation at the end of extension, relieving joint pressure. A study comparing 12 weeks of overhead extension versus neutral position showed substantially superior growth in all 3 triceps heads in the overhead version, even with lower absolute loads. To execute, position the pulley at high height, turn your back to the cable, raise your elbows close to your ears, and extend only the forearm, keeping the upper arms completely still. The descent should be slow, seeking maximum possible stretch. The most common errors are letting the elbows open to the sides, shortening the range at the top, and using excessive load, forcing the torso to compensate. Do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. Best exercise for back, lat pull-down. The lat pull-down delivers the same motor pattern as the pull-up without requiring you to lift your own body weight, something that becomes progressively more difficult after 40. The main target is the latissimus dorsi, the muscle that creates the V shape of the back, with intense recruitment of middle trapezius, teres major, rhomboids, and biceps. Seated with knees locked by the support, there's no lumbar overload. The adjustable load allows precise progression, protecting shoulders and elbows. To execute, hold the bar with pronated grip slightly wider than shoulders. Retract the scapulae before starting. Pull the bar toward the upper chest, and hold for a moment at maximum contraction before returning with control. The movement should start with the scapula, not the arms. The most common errors are pulling the bar behind the neck, which increases shoulder stress and reduces lat activation, using trunk momentum and initiating the movement with arms instead of the back. Do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. Relative contraindication for those with cervical hernia, in acute phase, or symptomatic impingement syndrome. Speaking of shoulders, few people know which portion actually creates the width everyone seeks. So in our list, The best exercise for side delts is the cable lateral raise. The cable lateral raise is the best choice for the lateral deltoid after 40 for a direct biomechanical reason. The cable delivers constant tension throughout the entire range of motion. With dumbbells, resistance only gets high in the last degrees of elevation. With the cable positioned at low height, the muscle works from the first to the last inch, allowing high activation without heavy loads. This detail is fundamental above 40. High muscle stimulus with low risk to the rotator cuff. The lateral deltoid is the bundle that creates the illusion of wider shoulders and the V-taper, and is one of the most neglected in conventional workouts. The cable version also allows fine adjustments in trajectory. A slight trunk inclination and the arm slightly in front of the body move the humerus away from the joint, reducing the risk of subacromial impingement. To execute, position the pulley at the lowest height. Hold the handle with the opposite hand to the cable passing in front of the body and raise the arm to the side up to shoulder height, leading the movement with the elbow. The ascent should be controlled between 1 and 2 seconds. The main errors are using excessive load compensating with trapezius shrugging, raising the arm above shoulder line and executing the movement by inertia. Do 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions. But healthy shoulders go far beyond the lateral bundle. Best exercise for rear delts. Reverse cable fly. The reverse cable fly is one of the most important exercises you can include in your routine after 40. The posterior deltoid is precisely the region that weakens most with modern posture. Hours at the computer, on the phone, and driving shorten the pectoral and weaken the posterior chain, resulting in those shoulders rolled forward that compromise posture, increase the risk of subacromial impingement, and cause chronic neck pain. The cable version has advantages over dumbbells: constant tension, controlled trajectory, and height adjustment for each anatomy. To execute, position 2 pulleys at high and opposite height, crossing the cables. Hold the handles in neutral grip with thumbs pointing up. Stay slightly leaning forward and open your arms horizontally to shoulder line, focusing contraction between the shoulder blades. This detail of neutral grip makes a real difference in posterior deltoid activation compared to pronated grip. The most common errors are using too much weight transforming the movement into a row, shortening the range, and arching the lower back excessively. Do 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions. Those with acute cervical hernia should start with minimal loads and total focus on technique. Best exercise for front delts: seated dumbbell shoulder press. The seated dumbbell press is the best choice for the anterior deltoid after 40 because it avoids the 2 main problems of the standing barbell version: significant axial load on the spine and the shoulder mobility requirement that most people over 40 simply lost. The bench eliminates lumbar overload. With dumbbells, each arm finds its own natural trajectory, respecting individual anatomical differences. And slight wrist rotation during execution is possible, distributing load more evenly across deltoid bundles and sparing the supraspinatus tendon. The exercise works mainly the anterior deltoid, with significant participation from the medial deltoid and triceps. To execute, sit with your spine supported. Hold dumbbells at shoulder height with elbows slightly in front of the body. Press upward without completely locking elbows at the top, and lower in controlled manner to slightly below shoulder line. The main errors are opening the elbows too wide, arching the lower back to generate momentum, and locking elbows at the top. Do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. Relative contraindication for those with symptomatic impingement syndrome or active rotator cuff injury. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Best exercise for chest: incline dumbbell press. The incline dumbbell press solves 2 problems at once: the tendency of the upper chest to remain underdeveloped with age, and the joint discomfort that makes barbell bench press increasingly uncomfortable after 40. The upper chest is the hardest region to develop, and developing this part is what gives the chest that full and proportional appearance near the clavicle. The ideal incline is between 30 and 45 degrees. Above that, the exercise becomes practically shoulder press. With dumbbells instead of barbell, each arm moves freely respecting individual anatomy. and it's possible to lower slightly more than the barbell allows, maximizing pectoral stretch and potentiating hypertrophic stimulus. Scapular retraction before and during the movement is indispensable both for correct pectoral activation and shoulder protection. To execute, adjust the bench between 30 and 45 degrees. Keep feet firm on the floor, scapulae retracted, and press the dumbbells until they almost touch at the top without locking elbows. The most common errors are inclining the bench too much, lowering dumbbells beside the shoulders instead of in line with the upper chest, and using excessive load sacrificing technique. Do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. Those with glenohumeral instability should clear with physiotherapist before progressing in loads. Best exercise for hamstrings, seated leg curl. The seated leg curl is the best hamstring exercise for those over 40. This muscle group is one of the most neglected compared to quadriceps, and this imbalance is one of the main causes of knee injuries in this age range. In the seated version, the hip is flexed at approximately 90 degrees, placing the muscle at greater length before movement begins, which generates greater passive tension and greater hypertrophic stimulus. A study by Mayo and colleagues directly compared, during 12 weeks, seated leg curl versus lying leg curl with one exercise on each leg of the same participant. The seated version increased muscle volume by 14%. The lying version produced only 9%. For audiences over 40, there's another huge benefit: zero axial overload on the spine, making the exercise safe even for those with disc herniation or chronic low back pain. To execute, adjust the backrest so the knee aligns with the machine axis. Position the pad just above the ankles. Keep the hip well supported. Flex knees to comfortable limit, holding 1 second at maximum contraction and lowering with total control. The main errors are displacing the hip from the bench to use momentum, shortening range, and abandoning eccentric control. Do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. Those with acute posterior meniscal injury should start with conservative loads. Best exercise for quadriceps: Bulgarian split squat. The Bulgarian split squat delivers almost all benefits of free squats with a fraction of axial stress on the spine. In traditional barbell squats, all load sits on the vertebral column. In Bulgarian, dumbbells stay beside the body or supported on the chest, practically eliminating this axial load. Being unilateral, each leg works individually, but quadriceps stimulus is very high because all force concentrates on one leg at a time. Another essential benefit after 40 is proprioception work. From this age range, this capacity declines progressively, and unilateral exercises are one of the best ways to maintain it, with direct effect on fall prevention. Bulgarian also corrects asymmetries between body sides, very common after years of living, protecting knees, hips, and spine from harmful compensations. To execute, position a bench behind you, support the top of the rear foot on it, take a comfortable step forward and descend vertically, flexing the front knee until the thigh is almost parallel to the floor, rising through the heel. The most common errors are placing the front foot too close to the bench, overloading the knee, leaning the trunk forward excessively, and letting the front knee collapse sideways. Do 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions per leg. Those with advanced patellofemoral syndrome should adapt range with conservative progression. Best exercise for glutes: glute bridge with elevated feet. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body, and most people, especially men, completely neglect specific training of this region, losing strength, performance, and lumbar protection. A well-developed glute stabilizes the pelvis, reduces lower back pain, and being the largest muscle in the body contributes significantly to the EPOC effect, which is the elevated caloric expenditure that persists after training. The bridge with feet elevated on a bench increases range compared to traditional bridge, making the glute work from a more stretched position to maximum contraction at the top. To execute, lie on your back, support feet on a low bench with knees bent at approximately 90 degrees at the top of movement. Keep arms beside the body, elevate the hip, intensely contracting the glute, and hold for 1 second at peak. The most common errors are pushing with the lower back instead of glutes arching the spine, supporting on toes instead of heels, and not reaching complete hip extension. Do 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions. Relative contraindication for lumbar disc hernia in acute phase. Best exercise for calves, calf raises. The calf is called the second heart of the body. It functions as a pump that pushes blood from extremities back to the heart against gravity, preventing varicose veins and circulatory problems. After 40, strong calves have another vital function. They improve balance and ankle stability, directly reducing fall risk. The calf is composed predominantly of slow twitch fibers, so it responds better to longer sets and requires real overload to grow. A study published in 2023 in Frontiers in Physiology compared during 12 weeks standing versus seated elevation in the same participant, one leg in each condition. Results were expressive. The leg that trained standing grew 12.4% in lateral gastrocnemius and 9.2% in medial gastrocnemius. The seated version produced only 1.7 and 0.6% respectively. To execute, position feet on an elevated platform with the back of the foot free. Rise maximally on tiptoes. Hold briefly at maximum contraction and lower controlledly to complete stretch. The most common errors are short range, absence of pause at the top, rushed rhythm, and loads too low. Do 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions. Relative contraindication for acute Achilles tendinopathy. Best exercise for ABS and core. Planks. The plank is the best ab and core exercise for those over 40, and the main reason is in what it doesn't do. No repeated lumbar spine flexion. Traditional crunches accumulate hundreds of lumbar flexions per session, and this pattern can aggravate disc herniation or vertebral degeneration cases. Very common problems in this life phase. The plank works the rectus abdominis, internal and external obliques, the transverse abdominis, which functions as a natural body belt, the multifidus, and also recruits glutes and deltoids as secondary stabilizers. The result is a truly functional core, musculature that protects the spine, improves posture, stabilizes the hip, and enhances performance in all other exercises in your routine. To execute, support forearms on the floor aligned with shoulders. Extend legs back with toes touching the floor. Maintain the body in straight line from head to heels. Contract abs and glutes, and breathe normally throughout execution. The most common errors are letting the hip drop, overloading the lower back, raising the hip too much, removing work from the core, looking forward, forcing the cervical, and holding breath. Start with 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds and progress gradually to 45 to 60 seconds per set. Relative contraindication for those with severe carpal tunnel syndrome and for those with diastasis recti, who should evaluate with physiotherapists before progressing. If you liked it and want to check out the only 10 things that force your body to burn fat after 40, we left a video showing each one better appearing right now on the screen. Check it out there, and don't forget to also check our Biological Shield protocol. Thanks for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.